Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Miskatonic Test Lab. I'm your host, Jake, and today we are running through the Limens of Belief, a fan-made scenario by No Aloha. This scenario is a very cool concept, very unique idea where the players get to play as Lita Chandler herself, who is featured in the core box scenarios as a story asset. Many of you should be already pretty familiar with her. This scenario attempts to recreate the steps that Lita Chandler must have gone through in order to get to where she was in the house at the beginning of the first scenario of the core box. So before you guys join me at the table, I kind of want to run through some of the unique things about this scenario. One being that since you get to play as Lita Chandler, No Aloha has given us a Lita Chandler investigator with her own signature asset, her own signature weakness. And so we're going to talk about her deck building options and her deck building requirements, as well as those weakness, the asset and the weakness that she gets. I'll run through kind of my deck that I made for her, and then you will join me at the table. So if you want to skip all that stuff and head straight to me actually playing this scenario, I'll go ahead and put the time signatures in the comments. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Lita Chandler, the investigator. Lita Chandler, the red-haired woman herself, has 4 willpower, 4 intellect, 2 fight, and 2 agility. She's zealot traded. I don't think that's going to matter. Maybe it will. Lita Chandler has +2 fight when attacking monster enemies, and her reaction trigger is after a skull tablet or autofail token is resolved during a skill test. You can search your deck and discard for a skill card and add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. And the Elder Sign effect is +X, where X is the number of monster enemies in play. She has 7 and 7 health and sanity. And I have to say that when I first saw this, I thought that it was going to be way too powerful, and it might be just pretty powerful, so we'll see how it stacks up against the custom scenario in which Lita Chandler can only be played. Maybe No Aloha took into consideration the amazing strengths that she has, the ability to tutor for any card, any skill card that you want over and over again is just... sounds pretty broken. And then her 4, not only her 4 intellect, but her 4 willpower are both just great things to have. Here's her deck building requirements. Deck size 30, deck building options. She can, of course, have Mystic cards. She's Mystic traded. She can have Secret cards level 0 through 2, and she can have Guardian cards level 0. She has to have Burning Fervor, a random weakness, and the Fierce Torch. The Fierce Torch is a 2-cost asset. It is Lita Chandler deck only. It has a willpower icon and a wild icon. It says your current location has -1 shroud, and the reaction ability is that after a non-elite enemy in your threat area takes damage, exhaust that enemy. So already kind of shoring up the weakness of her 2 agility being so low. If you actually get to damage with your Fierce Torch out with all the cool Mystic cards that we have, then you pretty much have evaded that enemy as well. So pretty cool. It could soak up 3 horror for you, and it takes up 1 hand slot and doesn't give you any health, which makes sense. Next up we have Burning Fervor. And then we have her signature weakness, Burning Fervor. It says, Revelation, put Burning Fervor into play in your threat area with 2 damage on it. Forced, when your turn begins, lose 1 action. The action ability on it is Parlay, move 1 damage from Burning Fervor to Lita Chandler or an ally asset you control. Then, if Burning Fervor has no damage on it, discard it. This sounds pretty frustrating. Kind of cool that she is losing some of her momentum and her drive because it's just getting under her skin possibly or something. So she has to kind of take some of that strain onto herself in order to get rid of this weakness. So pretty cool thematically, pretty frustrating mechanically. We'll see how it plays out. So as we talk about the deck that I built for Lita, I have to mention that I believe that this custom scenario was made probably around the core set times. I'm playing it at a time where Undimension and Unseen is the latest pack. that was just released. And so there's going to be some of those cards in here. I'm not sure if he tested, or he or she, I don't know if No Aloha is a boy or a girl, tested with kind of future proofing in mind. So my deck might be a little too powerful or just different, maybe not what he expected. But we'll go ahead and talk about it as I built it, with Undimensioned and Unseen, up to Undimensioned and Unseen cards. So assets first, we have Ritual Candles. We're really going to want to capitalize on the Skull, Tablet, and Autofail tokens happening. Ritual Candles are really going to boost our Skull and Tablet tokens. They give you +1 whenever you reveal one of those. Rite of Seeking is kind of a flex spot. Lita does have 4 intellect, as well as 4 willpower, so it's not really going to make a difference. In fact, I think that even through the playthrough, I'm going to change the Rite of Seeking into maybe Pathfinder. I think that'd be a really cool include, because we are playing in standalone mode, so we can get some of that influence, and she can have Seeker cards, so I think that we're going to do that, actually. 2 Shriveling seems like a staple for Mystic decks. And she already has that 4 willpower, so that's going to come in handy. Holy Rosary also seems nice with all the horror that we're going to give ourselves potentially with things like Shriveling. Dr. Milan Christopher is something that seems cool to have, especially because we have a card like Mind Over Matter that's going to help us deal with enemies in alternative ways. And going over to events, speaking of Mind Over Matter, we have If It Bleeds, which is a newer card for me. And it synergizes really well with her ability to kill monster enemies, because If It Bleeds says that whenever you kill a monster enemy, you get to heal horror up to that enemy's horror value, which is really pretty cool in Mystic. And then we have Drawn to the Flame. That's just a cool core set card in case we don't, in case we're having some trouble with our clue finding abilities, if maybe there's a really high shroud, because we're not really leaning too much on clue discovering abilities. She already has the 4 intellect stat, so Drawn to the Flame is going to maybe help us with that a little bit if we get in a bind. Emergency Cache, everybody should know what that does, but I'm thinking of maybe giving it the upgraded treatment, since we can bring a little bit of experience points, so I think I will do that. Hypnotic Gaze is another newish card, newer than the core set, and this is play when an enemy attacks, cancel that attack, and then reveal a chaos token from the bag, and if it has any of the special symbols, Skull, Cultist, Tablet, Elder Thing, or Autofail symbol, then the attacking enemy gets dealt his own damage back to himself. So it's kind of like a super dodge whenever we need it. And the thing that about this is I'm not sure if it counts for Lito Chandler's ability, because this is a reaction to an enemy attacking us. It's not really a skill test. So, any hopes for synergy there probably won't happen. Mind Over Matter is just a great way, like I was saying earlier, to utilize her 4 intellect with Dr. Milan. It makes it 5, so that's great. Preposterous Sketches, another newer than the core set card. That's play only if there are clues on your location, draw 3 cards. So that's going to be a cool card draw card. And then Ward of Protection, we all know, is just really great. And we're going to be taking horror from that probably often, but we can heal horror with our If It Bleeds and or soak it up with the Rosary. And then, of course, for the skills, we have Fearless, which is going to be great also for healing that horror. Not to mention, we can recur this back with Lita Chandler's ability, which leads us to our other skills, which I just put one of everything that there is, because we can get them whenever we need them. So if I have the feeling that we're going to be seeing a lot of variety in tests in this scenario, and so it's going to be nice to be able to pull whatever we need at any given time and to recur those. And that's why I only did 1 copy of everything. Okay, so here we go. Let's play the Limens of Belief, a fan-made scenario by No Aloha. All right, so here we are. For those of you unfamiliar, this is Lackey CCG. It's not as pretty as Octagon, but I have a Mac, so This is what we're going to be using. It is a test lab, so we're testing Lackey, we're testing the scenario, it's just all trial and error for me here, so let's get started. Here is some of the scenario cards that No Aloha has provided us, so if you want to skip some of the story aspects and the setup aspects of it, again, I have the timestamps down in the description, so go ahead and check that out. The first thing he says here is, hello, hi, I'm No Aloha, and this is my attempt at telling a short story through Arkham Horror, the card game. The scenario is designed as a solo-only experience using a specific custom investigator. The Limens of Belief should be played using rules for standalone mode, as explained on page 19 of the rules reference. So that's going to give us our few experience. So I have updated the deck with 2 level 1 Pathfinders, which is it's a level 1 secret card. It's going to let us travel a little bit easier. I've updated the deck that I took out the Rite of Seeking, and then I upgraded the emergency caches to be the level 1 emergency caches, or level 2, I forget, level 1 or 2. And I believe that's it. So we didn't go with the full experience suite, but that's okay. Hopefully our deck will be good enough. All right, so let's read the fluff. 2 down, 1 to go. You had practically stumbled across the first of the ghoul layers. It had remained hidden from sight, from light, all those years. Yet you never gave up searching. Your faith in your beliefs pushed you on with limitless drive, and you proved all the doubtcasters wrong that night. It was a messy solution, that first layer, but you don't dwell on the harm that befell the surroundings and its residents. Your cause is great, even if you accept it. The second layer was a bloodbath, sheer destruction. But that wouldn't work again. Precautions had been taken by the cult members, and this time, this final layer, you knew that a more subtle variety of action was required. You've patiently infiltrated the cult itself. You have a lead. To destroy this last access point of that ghoulish realm, you'll have to embroil yourself in the workings of their dark network, playing the part of a cultist whilst also playing the part of an investigator. You stand outside the shrouded lair, outside this plain old house, considering the nature of it all. You know enough of the arcane to realize that your solution requires a back entrance. Already pretty well written, I think, and pretty cool. She does get to start here at the house. We have the house, we have Rivertown, we have Graveyard, and we have Miskatonic University here. So let's see what the agenda says. Grim consequence. You're under no delusions with regard to the perils you face, the situation you've created for yourself. Over years of fiercely decrying the practitioners of dark magics, you learned so much. And to better understand, to better arm your will against them, you experimented, and something noticed you. Something is displeased. It's here, your final target. You know this house is the site of the lair, but you also know that you cannot reach the lair from here. You pull your hood up, over and down to eye level, covering the crude mask sat above your brow. Undercover with darkness via a recent clandestine meeting with, or clandestine, I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, clandestine meeting with a mask wearer. You've offered to help with the crucial cult task that you believe is just as crucial to your own endeavor. One of the more prominent cult members has agreed to meet with you. Who that might be, you cannot say. You were assured that true believers know where to meet. You've infiltrated enough of the cult's machinations by this point that you feel confident you can follow the clues. So the objective is, if we're at the Miskatonic University, we can spend 4 clues to advance. So, here's the Miskatonic University. Let's begin. Let's draw a starting hand. Draw, 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 draw. And already, I think that this is pretty cool. We have some card draw. We have some dodge. And we have our ritual candles, which is great. I think I'm going to keep this. I think I like everything here. All right. So let's go ahead and flip this over. And we'll begin here. The house has 1 clue, 2 shroud. It has an action ability, draw 1 card and gain 1 resource, limit once per turn. Okay, so let's do this thing. I'm going to put this away in the scenario area. Alrighty. So for my first action, I think I'm going to play down my ritual candles because those are really going to help us I believe, with our overall ability to get positive outcomes out of that skull tablet and tablet tokens. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then I might as well draw some cards with our preposterous sketches. So there is a clue on our location, so that's a cool thing to have in our starting hand. And we're going to go ahead and draw 3 cards. So we got a lot of new goodies. If it bleeds, mind over matter, Holy Rosary. That was our second action. Going to discard that. And for our last action, let's take a crack at investigating here with our 4 intellect versus 2 shroud. I'm going to shuffle this chaos bag. Playing on standard mode, by the way. So we'll go ahead and reveal a cultist. So we really have 4. We have 5 with our candles. We'll see what it does. -2, after you reveal this token, you can take a damage to treat it as a 0. So that's kind of cool, but we don't need it because we really have 5 versus 2. 5 -2, that's 3, we win. So we go ahead and take that clue for our last action. Okay, so there are no enemies. We'll go ahead and just do upkeep. Gain 1 resource, draw 1 card. And it's our random basic weakness, hypochondria. Revelation, add hypochondria to your threat area. After you take 1 or more damage, take 1 direct horror, and we can spend 2 actions to discard hypochondria. Gross. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next round here. We have 1 doom, 1 encounter card. Spawn in an empty location. This is an acolyte that we all know and love so well. After he enters play, place 1 doom on him. I'm going to put him here because we're going to go beat him up right now in a second, I think. Okay, so that's 2 doom. No big deal. What do we want to do? We have some cool options for taking care of him, and he's only 1 health. He's not a monster, though, so Lita can't, make quick work of him necessarily. Or I guess we could have. No, couldn't have done that. Okay, well, let's just go try to smack him over the head with our minds. All right, let's try it. Tough call because we really don't have any way to boost the intellect terribly much. Versus his 3, and we'll only have 4 intellect with mind over matter. Ugh, it's not really worth it. Maybe we should have spawned him a little bit further. Let's go ahead and just do that because we're cheaters. Okay, so we're just spawning further. Let's go ahead and for our first action, we'll move over here. Flipping that over. 1 clue is there. And nothing special about Rivertown. You would think I would remember. This does use some of the core set cards, modifying them slightly. So, okay, so what do we do? Let's go ahead and just try to investigate. We need all the clues we can get, I think. Yeah, let's try it. So we'll go ahead and investigate with our base 4 versus 1. No big deal. Again, now we have 5 versus, actually 5 -2. That's 3 versus 1, so we still win. I swear I shuffled this. I'm going to give it a good shuffle every single time, but that was pretty good. Thank you, Ritual Candles. That was our second action. And for our last action, you're gonna find this out about me that I like to draw a lot and take resources a lot for no reason. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna draw to try to draw into something to help us with him, and we kind of did. We drew Dr. Milan Christopher. That's gonna give us a little extra boost for the mind over matter. Okay, so enemy phase. We don't have any hunters, so we'll go ahead and move on to the upkeep phase here. Draw another card, make sure that we reset our actions, and we got another preposterous sketches Pretty cool. All right, so we'll add a Doom, and we'll draw our first encounter card. Put Frozen in Fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, each round it costs an additional action. At the end of your turn, geez. Well, I really don't want to cancel this. I want to save our Ward of Protection. It is an event, so we can't recur it with Lita's ability. So that's going in the threat area. And again, it's like this Hypochondria knew that Frozen in Fear and Burning Fervor were going to be like an assault on our actions. So what can you do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Dr. Milan Christopher for all 4 of our resources. I wish maybe we would have drawn sooner, but that's okay. Now we have him. And what we really need to get prepared for is... Oh, I could have just played Emergency Cash. Yeah, okay, well, we'll play it now. So our first action was to play Dr. Milan. Our second action is to play this Emergency Cash, the upgraded version, which lets us draw a card and gain 3 resources. And we're really just getting set up here. So I think maybe for our final action we could... we can either put down the Fierce Torch or... Yeah, I thought that was it. I mean, it's probably going to come in handy, and it's basically like having this. And I think that's all our hand slots. Yeah, we only have the candles, so I think we'll do that. So for our last action, we'll go ahead and put out this torch. So I like to put it kind of like this so we can see our hand slots taken up. And... Okay, so at the end of my turn, I can test for Frozen in Fear. So let's try to test 4 versus 3. So it's a test 3. So do I want to pitch anything for this? Probably not. I probably could... We'll probably just try to get lucky here. Shuffle, shuffle. Chaos. Got a skull. So for this test, we get 5, and the skull gives us -X for the current agenda, -1. Woo! We beat test 3 because we have 4 versus 3. Pretty cool. Ritual candles doing work. We're gonna put that back. We're gonna shuffle, and we're gonna discard this. Okay. That's the end of my turn. No hunters, so we'll go ahead and do upkeep. Cool. Got 2 of those. All right. Next round. 1 Doom. First encounter card. Maybe I should shuffle this as well, just in case. Put Dreams of... I'm not going to try to pronounce that word, but, you know, Rael. I'll just say Rilya. Into play in your threat area. -1 will, -1 sanity. No big deal. That might be a big deal, but we'll see. All right, so we have our 4th threat. Okay. I think we should just go fight this dude. We're just kind of delaying the inevitable. We're not getting our shriveling, but we do have our mind over matter, and that's going to be good enough. So... I'll go and move over here for my first action. You know what? Maybe it was a bad idea to put this up here. I'll just put it down here. All right, he engages us. This gets flipped. 2 clues on here. After you enter the graveyard, test willpower 3, and we only have 3 willpower. And if you fail, take 2 horror or move to Rivertown. All right, so we have -1 from this, and we're testing 3 versus 3. Do we want to pitch anything? We might. We might. Well, I think we can afford to lose the Rosary. Yeah, I think we can afford to lose the Rosary. So I'll go ahead and discard that. That gives us 5. it gives us 4 versus 3 test. All right, so 4 versus 3. Let's see. Oh my god. Cool. Okay. So we win that. We don't have to go back to Rivertown. But now we do have to deal with this dude, which is fine. We're going to mind over matter him for our second action. Actually, it's fast. Play only during your turn. Until the end of the round, you may use your investigate as your fight and evade. So play that, and then we will do a fight with our intellect of 4 plus, that's 5. So we do have 5. So I think our chances are pretty good. Let's see. Yep. I swear, again, you saw me shuffle. All right, I'll discard him. We don't get any bonuses, unfortunately, for killing enemies. That was our second action. And for our last action, we'll go ahead and try to get this clue. Maybe Right is Seeking would have been good after all, in order to get 2 clues, but it's okay. Okay, so we actually have, this is a 0 shroud because of our torch. So, we'll just investigate with our 5 versus 0. And looks like we did it. So that's going to give us one of these. That was our last action. Okay. Upkeep. Draw. Did I get my resource? I think I did not. Okay. First encounter card. Test 3 for each point of value. I take 1 more. No big deal, right? We only have 3. But whatevs. If we cancel that, that'd be kind of dumb. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just try it. I'm getting cocky. -1, so we do take 1 horror. Put it on this. Okay, first action, we'll investigate. I'm going to shuffle it. -2, but it doesn't matter because we have 4, 5, now 6 with the ritual candles. So this gives us -2. That's 4 versus 0. Things are looking up. My last 2 actions, I guess I'm just going to move straight to the university. I'm always a little cautious. I'm usually a little cautious about heading into an unrevealed location on our last action, but what can go wrong? I don't know. 1, 2 actions. Flip that over. We have 2 clues, and it says search the top 6 cards of your deck for a tome or spell card and add it to your hand. We don't care about that too much. We already have our spells, both Warders of Protection in here. Maybe we can get Shriveling if we really need it. Okay, so let's not advance until, if you're at the Miskatonic University, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. It doesn't really seem optional, right? It doesn't say you may, but if I remember correctly, it is optional usually. We'll wait. I'm going to assume that it's optional. I'm not totally sure, but, Grim Roll doesn't apply to me sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It just seems optional to me. Like usually it's optional unless it says that you must or something like that. I don't know. I guess Grim Roll just says that we better do it. So we'll just do it. We have our 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for this. Let's see what it is. True to those whispered directions offered, you find your quarry in the dusty office at the rear of the building, hunched furtively at a desk amid tidal waves of tomes, such that they threaten to crash all around him. As you enter, his eyes flash at you, startled. You calmly mouth a phrase, and he relaxes again. My, delivery girl, right. He sighs, reaching into his snug jacket. Here it is, and may it save us all. His eyes have dark rings beneath them. You do know where this came from, yes? Put Professor Warren into play at Miskatonic University. Charred phalange attached to him. Where are our aside? Aside. Okay, so we have Professor Warren. Charred phalange. Gross. It looks like a candle, but apparently it's a finger bone, which is just, so attractive. All right, so Professor Warren, we can parlay with him, apparently. Before we read those, let's go ahead and get our other act card out. Act 2. He waits for you to answer. As you furiously think how best to convince him of your proper involvement, he begins to fidget, shrinking back into his chair. A flash of doubt passes across his eyes. So if we control the charred phalange, we get to advance. And he says, action ability, test 3 intellect, parlay with him in order to gain control of the charred phalange and put it in our play area. Charred phalange says that it can't be discarded, and if you're at if your location has a threshold asset attached to it, it gains the ability to test for intellect, and if you pass, we can flip this card over, and during the skill test, we can spend actions in order to help us with that intellect. I'm not going to flip it over now. I want to be surprised, so we'll go ahead and end the turn and go to upkeep phase. We drew Overpower. And I keep... Oh, man. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. This is an action ability. I thought it was at the end of the turn, which would have been maybe nicer, but it's okay. Okay. 1 Doom and 1 Encounter card. Test 3 versus my 4. Let's just see what happens. I'm not going to waste many of my cards because they might... I don't know. I'm just being stingy, I guess. So let's see here. 3 versus 3. Maybe I should try to get rid of this. Okay, well. So 3, that's actually 4 versus 3, and it gives us -1. I think we got lucky there. Pretty cool. Okay, so I guess for our first action, let's try to get rid of this. Even though I think it's just going to be a pain in the butt the whole, for the rest of the game. We don't really want that to happen. We do want to get rid of this. We don't really care about hypochondria right now, so we'll care about this, and we'll test 3 in order to get rid of it. But for this time, I think we do want to discard some stuff just to guarantee that it doesn't come back or that it doesn't stay on the table. So, we can get. We don't have any skills. Oh, I totally forgot about Lita's ability. Oh man, this whole time I could have been searching my deck for a skill card and adding it to our hand. But that's okay. Well, you know what? We'll just go ahead and get rid of Fearless. Put in the discard. We can bring it back later. We'll get rid of a Word Protection for one of those intellect or the Willpower pips. So that brings us up to 4, 5, 6, -1. So that brings us from 5 versus 3. I think that puts us in a safe area to go ahead and test. And we have a tablet. That's never good. -3. Oh, no. So what did we say? We have 4, 5, 6, 7 -1. So it's 6 versus 3. I think we got it, right? Because 4 intellect, our 4 willpower -1, that's 3 willpower, plus our 2 cards that we ditched, that's 3, 4, 5, plus this is 6. Oh man, ritual candles. I love you. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this. And we'll get rid of that. And let's go ahead and look at her ability. We did pull a tablet, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and search our deck and discard for a skill card and add it to our hands. What do we want? Do we want some books for this guy? Do we want to get back our Fearless? We didn't have any horror to heal. Oh, we did have a horror to heal for our last one. Sorry. See, I'm already messing this up, guys. Okay, anyway, yeah, let's get our Fearless back. That's a skill that we'll get back from our discard for Alita's ability because we drew a tablet. That is broken, right? I mean, yeah. After tokens resolved during a skill test, search your deck and discard for a skill card and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. Pretty cool. So we can just recur that Fearless over and over, it seems, as long as we keep getting one of these tokens. So anyway, that was our first action. Our second action is going to be to try to convince this dude to give us his bony finger, or maybe it's not his, from his hand, but anyway. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test with our +1. That's 5 versus his 3. Sounds good to me. Let's try it. Oh no. -3. We lose 1 resource. Oh, no we don't. Ritual candles. Oh my god. Okay, so our 4, that's 5. That actually brings us to 6, which is just enough in order to succeed. And let's go ahead and look through our deck and find another skill card that we might want. Let's see. Then we might want to just get our Unexpected Courage, just so that we have something for any situation. I think that's the best thing to do. So we'll go ahead and hide that and shuffle it up. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Okay. Nice. So we parlayed with him. We get to control this, and we get to advance. So let's go ahead and advance. With firm conviction and a smattering of the cult secrets that you've picked up on, you manage to persuade him, intimidate him even, into trusting you. You learn that the bone functions as a valve of sorts, one that, through precise instruction, is able to adjust what the professor refers only to as her pressure between here and there. Interesting, you think to yourself, stifling a shudder. Very cool. You may search your deck for 1 card and add it to your hand. If you do, shuffle your deck. Well, you're not going to pass that up. What are we going to get? Let's get... I'm not going to get her weakness, I don't think. We can do with the Shriveling. Better yet, I think we're going to get this Pathfinder. That's going to really help to speed up our game, I think. So we'll go ahead and add that to our hand. Shuffle that up. Not in shuffle. And we're going to just play it immediately. Now, this doesn't take up any slots. That's our last action. But during your turn, if you're not engaged with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder to move to a connecting location. We'll use it right away to go here. And we're going to ready that because it's upkeep phase now. There's no hunters or anything. Sorry if I'm skipping around a little bit. And we draw. And now we got to discard down. We have way too many cards. I'm kind of happy with, since we have this emergency cash, we can probably get rid of this preposterous sketches for now. So we'll go ahead and just discard that. It does give us some cool icons, but it's okay. All right. And we totally forgot to reveal the last act. So let's see. You risk pressing him just a little further as he guides you out of the room. He simply wishes you good luck at the mausoleum. Objective: if you're at the graveyard, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. Okay, so we used that Pathfinder, and now we're here. Now we are where we are, but we should not have used that Pathfinder because we need these clues. So let's pretend we didn't use that because we forgot to advance the act anyway. So, okay. Let's go ahead and move on. We did upkeep. We did all that stuff already because we are getting ahead of ourselves. And we're going to put 1 Doom on here, which will advance it. As you search for the signs that will lead you to your objective, as you meet with unassuming and sallow-faced followers of this town's dark cult, as they trustingly share quiet whispers with you, you begin to feel as if the very shadows around you are shifting, not in quantity, but in quality. Maintaining your composure, you wrestle with your sensory faculties, dispersing like ever-present smoke these feelings of curious displacement. It cannot be, you tell yourself, that surfaces are actually offering a more gravely quality than typical, that the air itself is pressing down with increased stillness and lucidity. Surely these patchy roots pushing up through the gutters must have always been there. Take a chaos token and add it to the chaos bag. A skull chaos token. I don't think I put this aside. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to have to go into the deck editor and browse for, let's search for type chaos. Whoops. And we'll get skull token. Let's put it into a second encounter. What's this? Okay, that meant to be in there. Okay, second encounter. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, okay, because it's not, okay. Let's put it in our second deck. There's nothing in there, so we'll go to load to my second deck. Here it is. Okay, so we're going to add one of these to the chaos bag. Shuffle that up. And let's go ahead and reveal our next agenda. Agenda 2, the cover peels away. Without warning, your vision changes. You see two blue-robed figures facing you, kneeling in a dimly lit room. And with a shock, you see unfamiliar knees and arms protruding away from your body. You realize you're looking out through some other's eyes. The brief sensation disappears, but before it does, you hear one of the figures across you say, "Good work, brother wizard." Creepy. Forced. At the start of the enemy phase, each cultist enemy in play moves one location toward Lita Chandler. So kind of like a modified hunter in a way. Okay. With our first action, we're going to go ahead and... Oh, I'm sorry. See, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's draw our encounter card since we did start a new round. And what do you know? It is a cultist, and he's going to spawn here because that's an empty location. Wizard of the Order. Maybe that's the wizard they're referring to. And he gets a doom on him at the end of the Mythos phase. And yeah, what a jerk. Okay, so let's go ahead and kill him. No, we can't kill him. Well. Okay, let us... Should we kill him and then just come back? We can always come back, right? I mean, I don't really like the sounds of that. But we really don't have a great way to kill him, do we? We should have got our shriveling. Darn it. Well, let's just take these then. 4, we have 5. That has -1 shroud because of our torch. So that's 3 versus... So 5 versus 3. Wow. I never get this lucky. We'll do it again. 5 versus 3. -1 this time. Now, the thing is, he's gonna come in here and attack us anyway, because he's basically has Hunter. So we might as well get in there with our Pathfinder and try to punch him a little bit, right? Or evade him if we can. So I think we'll do that. So we'll go ahead and exhaust Pathfinder to move to a connecting location. He engages us. And we're going to evade him, because we can't really deal with killing him right now. Can we? No, because we can't do more than 1 damage, really. Unless we damage him, dodge him. Or we'll just evade him. Maybe we can get rid of him. Maybe we can just leave or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's just evade him. I'm going to go ahead and spend an unexpected courage to give us 4 evade versus his 2. Should be good enough. It's not good enough. Nothing's good enough versus auto fail. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, that always stinks. We're going to discard that. And all right, so he's not going to retaliate against evade. But now we're going to move to the enemy phase. He would move towards us, and then he smacks us in the face a little bit. No big deal. We can, she's a tough girl. All right. So, and that was our last action, by the way. Okay, so then we'll go to upkeep. Go ahead and ready that. Resource, draw a card. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. So we're still good. That might have been okay. We might still find a use for this draw into the flame, if not for its pips. Then, if not for its ability, then for its pips. Let's see here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and add 1 doom. Add 1 doom. And we really should have added 1 doom for last Mythos phase when he was drawn. So that's where we're at. 3 with a threshold of 4. Let's hope nothing else adds to that. I don't think Ancient Evils is in this, though. Encounter card. Empty location. Oh my god. Okay, well, he's going to get a doom. Fortunately for us, even though it's at 4, we're already past the point of having to see whether advance the agenda. So we have 1 last round to kind of deal with this. And to advance. So my feeling is that I just want to get away from this dude as quick as possible and get to the mausoleum to reveal more locations. So let's see what happens. Should we try to kill him first? We can always move with Pathfinder. I think that might be the best course. Also, we could have got back our unexpected courage for revealing our auto fail before, so we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to get back our unexpected courage, so we'll put that in our hand. And then that's going to give us the ability to fight him with 4. He does have 4. That kind of stinks. Maybe we should just evade him, run away. I'm kind of okay with that. So we'll go ahead and use that unexpected courage that we got back from that auto fail in order to evade with 4. So let's try to do that. All right, 4. That's actually 5 minus 2. So we get it. All right, so we evade him. That was our first action. Our second action is just to move. We can't Pathfinder because there's an enemy there. Oh, if you're not engaged with any enemies, that's way powerful. Okay, so that was only 1 action. Let's go ahead and spend these clues already to advance this. A thin figure waits under skeletal boughs, clutching a Hessian sack that writhes wildly within. He slings the sack over his shoulder and, purposefully snatching at a nearby shovel, stalks towards you. As the wiry man shuffles near, you feel the finger bone in your pocket suddenly start to twitch, and with that, the Hessian sack becomes dormant. He pauses his advance, glancing at you, opening the blinds. He reaches into the coarse fabric and pulls from it a moist, disturbing creature. An odd number of limbs hang limply all around it. The curious bone vibrates. With eyes lingering on the tragic beast, he raspily mutters, "Ah, so it is indeed you." Put Mr. Collins into play at the graveyard. Put into play the set-aside mausoleum. So, set aside Mr. Collins. Set aside mausoleum. And this is connected to... Mausoleum is not revealed when you move into it. Mausoleum is connected to the graveyard. So, because the symbols don't match up, he added that little blurb. You must discard one card at random or discard 3 cards to parlay, and the malformed beast enters play under your control. Place it into your play area. Seems like we have no other option. We'll just do that. Let's discard a card at random. For 1 action, and we lost emergency cash.